Hello and welcome to our very first segment of our sit-down series. My name is Ozzie and I'm your host for today's show. So today we have a very special guest in someone named Michael Brown, who is the founder of Love Football, Love United channel. So how's it going, Michael?
How you doing there? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Thank you for joining the show. It's our first time, so really glad that you're our first guest today. So today will just be sort of a breakdown of your channel and how you started. So let's get to know a bit about yourself. So where are you from, and what was the reason that you support Manchester United?
I'm Manchester born and bred, so I mean, it can either go two ways. It can either be a blue, or
Yeah,
or it can be a red. I mean, and I chose red. I mean, my mum's a blue. I mean, I actually grew up watching the Blues on TV because my mum. Obviously, when you're a 6-year-old, you can't really have any choice or any power over the TV channel.
yeah,
And I like watching their reaction. But as soon as I could really understand football, it was definitely going to be a red for me.
fantastic. So how long have you been supporting Manchester United?
Well, I will say, come on, to, I mean, I started supporting United when about, say, 8 years old. So almost a good, like, maybe 38 years or something like that now.
Oh wow, very very long time.
So, yeah, it's a very long time. But I mean, really, passionately, when about, say, about 10 years old.
Right.
And when I can really fully understand it and really follow it,
Yeah.
Definitely.
What's the earliest memory you have as a fan? Is there anything that vividly sticks in your mind?
Well, just obviously that kind of growing up watching the FA Cup finals, when it used to come on, the big match as well. But it used to. I think my first one was watching Ray Wilkins do that curler against Brighton. That was one of the memories I always stick in my mind. But the biggest kind of memories for me was definitely the 1985, FA Cup, run where we met Liverpool in the semi-final. That was a classic, at Old Trafford first, where we drew 2-2. Robson scored, and I think it was Wheeland equalised to Liverpool. Then it was Stapleton in extra time, Walsh. But then it went to a replay, and I never forget it because I was living in Moss Side and in a little estate not far from Main Road, and that's where the replay was. And all the Liverpool fans marched through my estate. So me and my brother there kicking the ball, we're thinking, wow, look at all these scouts coming through.
Yeah.
But we were new because we knew it was a huge game because we were like replicating the game, how it's going to go, and so it turned out. That was one of the best cup replays that we saw. Because Robson did that brilliant run from the halfway line, cracked one in the top corner. Liverpool equalised, and then it was Paul McGrath. I think it might have been scored an own goal first. Robson got the equaliser, and then Mark Hughes topped it off. And the reason why I remember that game so much because Liverpool fans were on the right in Moss Side. They really wrecked the place. You know what I mean? But we we didn't care at the time because United were going to the FA Cup final, and that's where the best memory kind of for me in my early years happened because the final was going ill with Everton were the league champions going for the double. Kevin Moran gets sent off, and then Whiteside does that curler. You know what I mean? To give us the trophy. Yeah. But the whole day, if you remember match of the day, you remember the FA Cup as well. Sorry. The build-up was always in the morning from 8 o'clock. It was on news. It was on grandstand. There was a big build-up, and the whole day you're waiting till 3 o'clock.
Yeah,
and it's like that's hours for a kid. You know what I mean? That's a good 7 hours of build-up. What do we do? Playing football in your front room, outside, and getting yourself snacks and everything. And then that happens, and you know what? Just euphoria. That was one of the greatest memories from an early age, anyway.
Yeah, I remember back in the day, the FA Cup sort of build-up would always be from the morning as well. So it's a lot different nowadays. But yeah, I think if your team's in the FA Cup final, you always remember that sort of day in terms of what you were doing in the morning. Like you're saying, you're probably playing football in the back garden. So that build-up as well is quite an exciting as a fan. So when did you start this channel? Because we've spoken off air before, and I believe you've done this for quite a while, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm looking back because I'm looking at some old YouTube videos as well, which was like say 2014. So I would say about a good maybe 6.5, 7 years now. Yeah, wow. I've been operating this channel. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your journey in terms of when you first started. What was the reason why you started doing the channel? What pushed you to do it?
Well, it was it was a collaborative idea with one of my best friends. I mean, my best school friend from school. We both grew up in Manchester, support United, and it's a gentleman called Michael Wills. And we both decided, you know what, let's set up a page and just post Manchester United articles. Anything about United. But we actually set it up wrong. We set it up wrong because we wanted to kind of make sure it's just a page where everyone can come on and share their views and so forth. But it ended up being a membership one where people had to request to join the page. And so it kind of worked out okay, because what we could then would restrict people selling stuff, people putting any sexual content on. And in the beginning, we were getting at least maybe 40 to 50 requests to join a day. It was coming through so quickly. So in the interim, we started to kind of say, approve, because obviously it's all about your numbers, and you're thinking, great, this is fantastic. But then as you started doing that, you saw people putting sexual content on there. It was global, like people from America, Africa, Asia, so forth. So if as well as here in the UK and Europe, we're thinking, right, okay, we need to start really screening these guys, and we put up, the kind of our restrictions and so forth, saying you'll be removed instantly. And so myself, Michael, and then we've got a couple more admins in Rob and Ankit, and then we started to filter these through. But it's grown to about 10,500 followers now. So not all of them probably be active, but most of them still appreciate the forum because of the constant updates. You know what I mean? So if you're in like remote places, you're still gonna be able to access stuff about Manchester United from obviously this forum. So it has proved well.
So from the first time you started the channel up to now, has there been different changes in terms of your approach for doing different types of content, or has it been the same sort of format in terms of you doing pre-match reviews and then post-match analysis? How have you done your content for your channel?
Well, initially it was just articles, anything what you saw on Twitter, newspapers, internet. It's almost like just regurgitating that and putting it out there, and then adding your own views. But then one day I thought, I just said to myself, well, I know a lot about football, and it was someone said to me, well, why don't you just go and try it? Just do a review. So I took the bravery. It was a big, huge step, and I mean, you'll probably relate to this as well, obviously, because you've got your own kind of podcast. But it's very daunting, to face the public and give your view, because you're always thinking about people are going to think, oh, you're an idiot. You don't know what he's talking about. You're not a United fan. You're way off the mark. And I thought you're really putting yourself out there for scrutiny. But all about this is about you're just giving your view, because all the fan bases, especially United fan base, do have differentiating views. But that's what makes us unique. That's what makes us authentic, because we all got the same goal, and that's for Manchester United, to be the best they can be, and be on top of the tree. And so I did a 30-second kind of like review of a match. You could see my nervousness. I did it in my bathroom, no background, but I got quite a good positive response. People said, carry it on. So it became a minute, and then I thought, let me do a pre-match preview. So I actually started to do my research, from the internet, looking at past matches, looking at the form of teams, and then loading that up as well, pre-recorded. And then I did pre-recorded post-match previews as well, which no one could really comment on unless they kind of commented after the video was put up. And then the next step for that, after a while, when I got really confident, was let's do a live debate straight after the game. And so now I'm actually at the mercy of people's comments, and now you've got to kind of facilitate that. But when you watch like your Sky Sports, when you watch your own Sky Sports, you listen to Talk Sport, you see how they facilitate that. And I thought, well, I can replicate that in my own way, because you have to be authentic. You've got to put yourself in there, and people buy from people. And just so happens I've got a great following, and because they're great people as well, because they just love Manchester United, and they will have their views, and they get to air them as well.
Yeah, no, that sounds. I can definitely relate to everything you've just said there. My journey is quite similar. Obviously, I'm quite new in my journey, but yeah, for me, it's always been a thing where I just want to get my opinions out there, because I feel like I have the football knowledge as well. So yeah, I can definitely relate to what you just said. So guys, if you're watching us right now, if you'd like to send any comments or questions to Michael, if you're watching through Facebook, feel free to comment underneath the video, or if you're watching us through YouTube or Twitter, just send your comments through the live chat, and we'll try and get you your comments on screen as well. So my next question for you, and Michael, is your opinion on the current structure of the club. So obviously, right now, you had a great victory over the weekend, but in terms of the overall structure of the club, are you happy with the way it's set up at the minute? And if not, are there areas that you feel like will help United challenge for the title in the future?
Well, this is a ongoing issue ever since the Glazers took over Manchester United, which I've always been opposed to. I just think it was the wrong move by that family, because they just saw Manchester United as a cash cow. It's a way of getting revenue. They've taken a lot of dividends out of the club. They've taken £1 billion out of the club. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's saddled with debt, and so you cannot be happy about that. As a United fan, we've got non-footballing people, like likes of Ed Woodward, Matt Judge, making football decisions, running the club. And unless they step back and have that humility to say, well, we are great commercial assets to Manchester United. We can make a lot of money off the pitch, but when it comes to footballing matches, if we can put in place the right footballing structure in terms of, director of football, in terms of having a big department which can look at talent acquisition, recruitment, giving themselves an identity as well. That director of football will give them an identity who will then, go and, tell the scouts, this is the kind of player we want, because this is the kind of brand of football we want, the kind of manager what we want as well. And then United will start to kind of, build that identity, and it will evolve organically. But at the moment, you can see by the various mistakes what's happened. They've had Mourinho, they've had Van Gaal, they've had David Moyes, and the common denominator is they've all been let down by the manager, by Woodward, in either transfer negotiations, either lack of transfer funds, the players being onboarded, maybe not at the manager's request. And so unless you give footballing people the power to do their jobs, and where you just play a supporting role, United won't return to their past glories. But I think they're starting to maybe get that message. Maybe because we're hearing stirrings that there's a shortlist for a director of football now. They're starting to back Ollie as well, in terms of their transfer strategy going forward in the next couple of windows. So maybe they're starting to see that, well, there's some green shoots here which we need to build on. But they have made a lot of mistakes. So I think United, from a structure point of view, they are behind the big boys, Real Madrid, your Bayern Munich, these guys who've had structures underpinned. It's a bit like what I said about the England team when they saw France win the World Cup. And they said, well, how do we replicate that? Well, France had La Fontaine. And so what did England do? Go and build St. George's and then start having that conveyor belt of talent and putting the expertise in the right place. That's what United need to do, because Liverpool's gone through that pain. You've seen it with Fenway Sports and so forth. Now they've recognised, they've got a director of football, they've got Klopp in, they've backed him, and you're now seeing the fruits of that decision making to put the key decisions in footballing hands, expertise hands.
Yeah, that's quite refreshing to hear, actually, because I think when you speak to the normal United fan, I don't think they understand the structure of the club. So it's more or less a thing where if there's a bad result, it might be a thing where Ole is the one to be pointed at, or certain players that, they become a scapegoat for some reason all of a sudden. So it's quite nice to hear from you that it's a bigger picture than just the manager and the team. It comes from the hierarchy as well, where I didn't know United didn't have a director of football. So to have that kind of person in charge as well will help. Obviously, Woodward has had a lot of negative reviews or press, or however you want to phrase it, over the years. But he's not really a football man, is he? So It would help for him to do the financial cycle. I'm sure financially he does amazing in terms of bringing commercial sort of revenue to the club. But that's not obviously, I think you mentioned it earlier on, as in the owners they bought Manchester United more for investment purposes rather than for footballing reasons. So it's quite nice to hear that. Yeah,
but if we could just make one more point other than there as well. Remember, right? Manchester United had, they had a manager who was in situ for like 27 years. Ferguson. He had Martin Edwards alongside him. They worked in real close alignment. It was a very very niche kind of small group, like in terms of the structure. Martin Ferguson going out doing the scouting, and so United were always going to be in trouble once those key figures, migrated to business. The football club. Then you're starting from a new start really, and I don't think United have really looked at that structure instead. Even at the scouting structure, I think it's like 52 scouts, globally what United have got. Wow. But is anyone coordinating those scouts to say, well, this is what we want? Does this taking hedge bets? Let's Sanchez. Let's go and get some youngsters. Let's go and target younger, the best talent. What they think is the best talent at the moment now, and that's like Palestri. You've seen it with Arma Traore from Atalanta, who's joining. There's a talk about Caicedo at the moment, who's a young 18-year-old Ecuadorian. So you can see where United are going with this. But is that going to enhance the first team at the moment? Yeah. No, United need first teamers in a team, which I'm sure we'll come on to at some point. But you can see there's a lack of identity here and vision. Ollie thinks he knows it, but I think they need more. I think he needs more help.
No, that makes perfect sense. I understand your points there. So I asked you before we went live, before we organized this Q&A, that I wanted you to present me your all-time Manchester United 11. So let's present that for our viewers here now, and then you can talk us through your selection in terms of why you've selected certain players. So here we go. So here's your team. So go through your team here and.
Yeah, well, let me just put this caveat in there first, right? I mean, I'm going from all-time 11 from since I was born. Because you think about it, you've got George Best, you've got maybe Duncan Edwards in there, Dennis Law. These are great names, but I'm going from since I was born and the kind of players who I feel deserve to be in this 11. Now, it was a very hard decision because you look at all over the pitch, and the great players that's played for United. But I'm just going by their contribution, and especially to successful winning teams or championship winning teams over and over again. So I've gone with Peter Schmeichel in goal because he was just outstanding. Especially the times when we kept winning back-to-back premierships, the great saves he made. He was a towering figure. At the back, I know we've got like Yap Stam, who people may talk about, maybe in here. So a couple of United fans will disagree with my pairing here, but I thought Vidic and Ferdinand worked so beautifully. Because Rio was quick, he was fast, he could bring the ball out, great feet. But then Vidic had that kind of leadership to say, Rio, stay here, come back. But he was a real hard nut, get in, brave as a lion, and manage the back four very well. I've gone for Dennis Irwin at right back. I'll say left back, absolute stalwart for United. Brilliant technician, great delivery, chips in with penalties and free kicks. And Irwin just never let United down. He was a consummate professional. I've gone right back Gary Neville because I just feel like during those, I mean, he actually improved. Because before he was a good defender, but then he actually improved going forward as well, doing those overlaps. Him and Beckham worked great down that right-hand side, getting good crosses in. So I know we had Valencia and so forth, but everyone else seems to be makeshift, right backs rather than a specialist one. So that's why I've got him in there. Midfield was difficult because you got Roy Keane, Scholes, Robson, but Robson had to be there, Captain Marvel. Carried United through even the dark times when we're near the bottom of the league, not playing well, but he was Captain Marvel. He was my hero growing up in that United team, in the 80s. Especially, I remember that game at Main Road when he just was a brilliant player for United. Scholes, because that's my favourite player of all time at United. Scholes of goals, always turns up, always scores goals. Arrives in the box late, just skillful, and then in his latter stages of his career, he was the metronome. He was the one who saw the play, saw the picture, kept United ticking. So he had to be in my team. Rocket Ronnie, I mean, Ronaldo, he has to be there ahead of Beckham. Beckham was a great servant for United down that right hand side, but Ronaldo, I mean, he's gone on to be the best player in the world, and he was absolutely sensational at United in the last 2 seasons. The goals tallies speak for themselves, the runs, the Champions League, all that stuff. He's just been superb for United and one that I always have to be in that team. Giggsy, again, United, Manchester man, born and bred, straight from the beginning, since he was like 18, Ryan Wilson, that England schoolboys. I've been following this, this guy, but his impact on United, he's won over 13 premierships. He's probably the most decorated in the club. It's unbelievable longevity, and one which are the inspiration for all young kids, to follow. So look after yourself, be a good professional, and that's what you can end up with. So he had to be in there for me. Now up front, very difficult because United have had Tevez, they've had Berbatov, they've had York and Cole, probably the most deadliest partnership United's ever had. But I had to go with Cantona as a number 10 here because he was inspirational to United winning their first Premiership title. When he came in from Leeds, his impact on the club was huge because he had a broad chest. He took ownership. He scored some vital goals, led the team, to that first, Premier League title, which was a catalyst for, United to go on and be more successful. So I had to have King Eric in there. And then up front, well, I've always left with one position, and I think Cole and York were brilliant in partnership, but Ruud van Nistelrooy is an absolute striker. He's a deadliest striker United had in all kinds of goals. Volleys, chest it, round, bang, turn. Scored some absolute sensational goals for United. Even people remember the Aston Villa game where United losing in the FA Cup when he scored them 2 late on. He's just been brilliant, Ruud, and that's my all-time 11 at the moment. But very difficult to leave some of the players out because you can make cases for them all. Even Solskjaer and Sheringham, when they came on, they were a very good partnership as well. But I had to go with these guys. So let me know what you guys think as well.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be too many arguments, to be fair, because like you've mentioned, quite a number of great players in the United history as well. But I think this is a pretty solid team, if I'm honest with you. So yeah, I wouldn't say there's a lot of arguments with this team, especially the pairing that you mentioned of Vidic and Ferdinand. That's probably one of the best pairings in modern day Premier League history, I think. So yeah, very, really good, strong team there, I would say. Okay, so let's try and talk about a bit more current affairs. So what are your expectations of Manchester United this season?
Oh man, I would say me personally, I say top 4. That's the realistic expectation. But we are in a very unique season, and which I'm calling a COVID season because it's a very condensed league campaign this time, where you have to play any cup games, any Champions League, Carabao Cup, Premiership. You've got to manage that because you're playing every 3 days, and so it's about squad rotation, squad depth, luck with injuries. And still pick up points along the way. And we started to see earlier on, United were flat as a dodo, could have finished the season late. The last campaign being Europa League, they didn't have no training sessions, and Palace and Spurs caught them cold, very cold. United were at the races mentally, fitness-wise. But you're seeing now, and the result is that obviously getting beat by Arsenal 1-0 as well. But since that defeat, United have only dropped 2 points out of a possible 21. So we've earned the most points in the league out of all the clubs. So you can see us now sitting in third place, game in hand. But games in hand don't mean nothing until you win it. But what's a concern for me, for United, is that they haven't got the consistency. They may be winning the matches, but they're not looking convincing doing it. There's no game management there. So I think realistically, can United be title challengers? Yes, in this format, current format, because you never know what can happen. But realistically, on footballing alone and solidity and game management, I think United are a top 4 team.
Okay, that's a fair point. So let me put you on the spot. Who do you think will be top 4 at the end of the season?
If I'm putting you on the spot now, I'll say Liverpool as champions. I'll say United or Chelsea second or third, and then Man City will be in there as well.
You don't see Tottenham in there?
No, I don't. And the reason why is because it's about, like I said before, it's about squad depth. You look at Man United, they've got Cavani, they've got Martial, they've got Rashford, they've got Bruno Fernandes, Dan James as well. Greenwood. They've got depth there. Midfield, McTominay, Pogba, Fred, Matic. There's players who can come in and still be quite a strong squad. You look at Spurs now. They're heavily reliant on Kane and Son. You take those 2 guys out of the team, what have you got?
Very true.
So this is what I'm saying now. And now, can they go another 26 matches without having any injuries or people pulling up? I don't think so. You're playing every 3 games, playing every 3 days. So this is why I think Tottenham will start to come back a bit, because you've seen in the last couple of matches, teams are saying, right, okay, if we score first against Tottenham, then your counter-attack's finished. Because now you've got to come out. And you see how Tottenham find it difficult to break down Leicester the other day, and found it difficult to beat Liverpool. even though they were well in that match, but Liverpool found a way, and so they're gonna come there. So me personally, I think it'd be Liverpool, and then out of United, Chelsea, and Man City in whatever order we'll finish in the top 4.
No, fair play. So let's flip the table and let's look at the sort of bottom half. Who do you think will get relegated?
Well, I think definitely Sheffield United. I think they've got too much to kind of claw back. They've been, I think it's like 13 defeats now out of 14, so it's very difficult for them now, or maybe 12 out of 14. I think they've drawn 2 as well. I think West Brom will go as well. I don't think Allardyce is going to be rescuing this team anytime soon, because I don't think he's got the players there, who can deliver that.
Yeah.
And never say never with him though, because he will find a way of making the game absolutely turgid, boring, and they win it 1-0 in some way. But at the moment, they've had a couple of sendings off, and so if they go further adrift, they may find it difficult. And then it's out of Brighton and Fulham for me, because I think Arsenal, people talk about being in the relegation zone because they're 5 points off, but I just don't. I just can't see that happening.
Do you think that's realistic?
No, it's only a third. No, it's only a third way through the season. Arsenal will pick up points. All they need is one scrappy win, and then maybe they will start to get that confidence back, because they are a good footballing side, but they just haven't got the personnel there. I think their recruitment has been shocking, but they're not in a relegation battle. I think Fulham, they showed a bit of signs of betterment, to we say, because I think Lookman's been brilliant for them since Scott Parker's put his team into like a back 5. They are defending very well. They know what they're doing, but can they score enough goals to keep in the Premiership? And this is what it's all about. But there's always one who starts to free fall, but we don't know who that is yet, because it's maybe a bit too early. And Christmas has come very early in this season as well, because it's a late starting season. Because normally by now you would see who's in trouble or who's potentially going to be pulled down into it. But if Arsenal don't win their next couple of games, the pressure's going to mount on them, and then they may be in that battle, because I think they've got Chelsea coming up as well. They've got some very difficult matches, which they need to get across, need to get over the line with.
No, definitely, I agree. I think. Yeah, at the minute it's quite hard to predict, especially the bottom half. But I think the teams you've named are sort of like on current form are probably the popular choice right now in regards to who you think would go down. So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting end to the season. So we'll see how that pans out. But
what about yourself?
Do you know what? So I made a prediction earlier on the season where I said Liverpool, Man City, and I said Manchester United and Chelsea. I kind of stick to that as well, if I'm honest with you. I think Tottenham have shown good form, but I don't think they'll sustain that challenge throughout the whole season, in my opinion. I think similar to views that you said in regards to Kane and Son, if one of them was to go missing, do they have enough quality to sort of roll in that position in that team where they will get goals and assists? Because at the minute, their partnership is just unbelievable right now. So if you drop one out of the team, it's not going to have that same kind of cohesion within this team as well at the same time.
So maybe Moura will support Kane, but then they brought Bale back, but I don't think Bale's been effective. No. And you know what? He has to have enough games either to kind of show that consistency or like build it up. And so it'd be a big ask to kind of lean back on Gareth, and he's already looking back to going to Real Madrid. Should Zizou get his marching orders? So is he fully concentrated? So, but I think it looks good on paper, but then teams look great on paper, look strong on paper. But if you haven't played any football, then you haven't played any football. So you're not going to be that as effective.
Some have already labelled him as a flop of the season, just because he hasn't played much. And I think there was so much expectations in the summer from him that, he might really help Tottenham challenge. Obviously, Tottenham are challenging right now, but it's not on the base of Gareth Bale doing anything in the team. So a bit harsh to call him a flop of the season at this stage, but fans are quite quick to react in terms of that sort of situation there.
And then you know what? Also, you have to remember something as well, right? It's 13 games in. We're not even a third of the season in. So you know what? No trophies are handed out in December.
Of course not.
So let's just remember that. People talk about title challenges. People talk about can win the league and so forth. You're 13 games in, and no one has been, to me, no one's been the standout team to me. People have had great matches, but then people got turned over. Liverpool were poor 2 games ago against Fulham. They absolutely got rinsed. But then they got that big win against Tottenham where they knew they're up against a team who are full of confidence, and Liverpool got across the line, which sparked them into gear, and they give Palace a hiding. Now, Man United knew that Leeds were coming for their throat. They're going to have to play a higher intensity, and United end up running double the amount of kilometres which they've run in any game, throughout the whole season. So, but then they had to play at the highest tempo they've ever played that. They've had so many more shots. So you ask yourself, well, why not replicate that week on week? And so you can see people's form are up and down, and it'll be another disparity against Everton or Leicester when the tempo will come down, and you'll see Tottenham now will start to rethink their strategy a little bit, thinking, well, we can't. This now we've lost 2 matches on the spin. How do we go about addressing that? Do you change your philosophy or do you stick with it? And no, Mourinho, he'll probably stick with it, but at some point you do get worked out. When people take away United's attack and slow the game down like Man City did, United were boring. So and Chelsea did it to us at Old Trafford as well. They stopped the counter. So it's about managers are going to have to feel their way through how to eke out the points to keep themselves competitive at the top end of the league. And manage the competitions as well. It's going to be about rotation and luck with the injuries. You've not had the luck yourself at Liverpool, but you're starting to get the bodies back, and then players who have been pretty quiet, like Firmino, have come to the fore. It's his time now. If you've got a fantasy league football team, you get Firmino in there because he's on a little streak at the moment. How long that lasts, but it might just last over Christmas period, which may see Liverpool 10 points clear soon, and then they're not going to be caught, especially in this environment.
Well, that's a nice little tip there for fantasy football fans there. So I think you're right. Especially, I think there's so many injuries across the league as well due to the congested fixture list that we have.
Look at Vardy. Look at Jamie Vardy, came up with a groin.
I know, and he's normally really fit. He doesn't really get injured that much as well. So it's going to be that kind of season where we will get surprise injuries, or unfortunately, if someone's got COVID as well, that's going to have an impact on terms of the team. So, it's a strange season in general. So it's quite a strange one. So,
but you can make hay in a strange season. So that's what Everton are sitting second. You can make hay in a season. Anyone who puts a decent run together will be contenders.
100%.
Put 5 games together, you might just find yourself sitting at the top of the tree. And I think we'll definitely know by April, May time when we see the league. If it's very close, it's anybody's.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think it's too early to kind of make those predictions. Obviously, I think Liverpool are the informed team, but teams surrounding Liverpool is
Man United.
Yeah, so literally United are informed as well. So it could literally be any of the teams where they might be going for a good run. They might just have a couple bad results, and it just impacts their season throughout. So it's a really, really tricky time right now.
19 points on 21 from 21 points is a team in form.
Yeah, exactly.
Might not be convincing performances, but 19 points out of 21 is you can't deny that. So you just got to give Ollie credit on that.
Yeah, it's a numbers game as well. So he's getting the point. He's getting the point. So
but he's still behind.
I know. But as long as United keep trying, we'll see how that pans out for them. But in terms of January, so we've got the window coming up soon. Do you see any business happening from United? And let's just play a bit of sort of fantasy football here. Who would you like to see come into a club if you think there should be someone in line?
Well, we always know January is a very difficult time, to onboard quality. We know that United looking to move on, Marcus Rojo, Phil Jones, who were given like long contracts under Ed Woodward, like I said. These players were given 5-year contracts, 3-year contracts. They should have been out of the club a long time ago. But because they're on big money, can anyone else afford them? No. So they're still there. United have signed Facundo Pellistri. He's a Uruguayan 18-year-old. He's gone straight into the under-23s. He's been here about a couple of weeks. Like I said, Traore signs in January. He's another 18-year-old playing the Atalanta B team. But these seem to be the best youngsters in United's eyes. We're going to be in the United's first team at some point later on. But I think they're looking to sign this 18-year-old Ecuadorian called Caicedo. But then in terms of anything, for me, I think if United were, if quality were there, I think United needs to sign the right winger, a striker definitely. I mean, I would, it's the usual suspects: Haaland, maybe Sancho, or even someone like Kingsley Coman or someone. I think United need width in that team, a natural right winger. You go for a centre back as a central defensive midfielder, whether that's going to be Declan Rice for Matic. You look at strengthening certain areas, but I think United need a player at the base of that midfield who can control the tempo of the game. A bit like who you signed, Thiago. That'd be the perfect signing for United. Even though he's getting on, his game management, of matches, that's what United are missing at the moment at that base. You've got the energy around him, McTominay and Fred or Pogba and so forth, guys who can be offensive. You need that person who can dictate in the game. So if I was going to go for anything, it'd be a centre back alongside Maguire or even alongside Tuanzebe, someone who can lead the back four. Yeah. United need Sergio, though. They still need a left back, still need a right back, I feel, because I think Tellez had a good buy going forward, but defensively, it's very suspect, but he's new to the Premiership, so time will tell. But Luke Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, not really been good going forward, so that's what United are missing. I mean, you look at Robertson, you look at Trent Arnold, you look at Justin, you look at these other teams, they've got synergy down both flanks. You've got your Mahrez, you've got Mendy, you've got Cancelo, you've got Sterling. You've got that synergy where people overlap, defend each other. At the moment, United haven't got that. They've got wingers who probably stay up there and don't help the fullback. So, but then the fullbacks, when they get in that spot, they don't deliver quality, and that's what United are missing, width. So for me, January, I can't really see much happening. Maybe Pogba. To talk about Pogba swap deal, but that's going to be summertime. I think both United and the club, both Pogba and the club know that it's going to be moved on in the summer. But will that be for a fee or will that be for a player transfers? We don't know. But definitely Pogba will be gone by summer. But January, I can't see much happening. There's talk that you're going to back him, but who do you bring in? Because who's available?
No, at this stage, it's very hard. Like the names you mentioned, it's very hard to kind of move those players and bring them into the Premier League just because they're performing at sides that are doing really well within their league and in Europe as well. So it's very hard to get top quality players unless there's been disagreements within the camp or their contracts are up and, they've got 6 months down the line. So it's very tricky to find those type of players right now.
There's one player who was mentioned in the summertime was Jadon Sancho. Now, he definitely had his head turned because his form for Dortmund has been absolutely pants at the moment. He hasn't even scored a goal.
So, would you take him now?
But then again, you have to ask yourself: Is Sancho going to be better than, say, Greenwood or Rashford down that side? I mean, but I think United do need a specialist winger. But I think Sancho will probably produce his best football for United because obviously I think playing alongside Rashford and those guys who he knows very well. I think he will probably start to express himself. I mean, so, but is he worth 103 million, 108 million? Never in a month for Sunday. Sancho's 60, 70 million tops, if that. But we are in stupid climate at the moment. I would pay more for Haaland because he's more specialist to me. I think United need a striker, but you need definitely the right winger, whoever that is. You need a quality right winger.
I totally agree with Sancho because for me, I'm a big fan of Sancho. So if he was to come into the Premier League, I think he will literally light up any team that he plays for. Regarding Haaland, in terms of player and his ability, perfect player. But guess whose agent is? Mino Raiola.
I know.
So it's not the best business to be doing with.
But then, if we look at what the kind of like buyout clause and the kind of sign-on fee and so forth, the agents' fees were ridiculous. That's why United stepped away from it because even now Dortmund will have to sacrifice part of that transfer fee. They are going to make some more money on it because obviously like 67 million they're talking about is a buyout clause. But Man City will be looking at him next year. Liverpool as well. I'm hearing stirrings that Salah's not happy, and so he may be getting moved on. So Sancho could end up there. So it's going to be an interesting summer. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see one signing coming to the Premiership, which no one expects in January. Because remember, we are in a COVID environment where clubs are still on the knees in terms of fans not being allowed in. So whoever's got the finance, sometimes, I mean, Dortmund may refuse the first offer, but will they refuse the second? We don't know.
Yeah.
Time will tell.
Time will tell. Exactly. Remains to be seen how the transfers pan out next month and in the summer as well. But Michael, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for joining us. Could you let the viewers know where to follow you and how to find you on social media?
Yeah, well, I'm on Facebook. It's a Facebook page, Love Football, Love United. Very simple, just come on board, have a look at the page. If you like what you see, just press the request, and then we'll obviously let you in, and then you come in and join in our live debates as well. But I just want to say thank you for facilitating this, Usman. It's been an absolute pleasure. Best of luck with your podcast as well. And I was deplore all of my fan base and people who just like football in general, because Usman covers all this matches, during the each week. Sorry, so if you are interested in football, then this is the podcast for you as well. But it's been an absolute pleasure, and thank you very much, and best of luck.
Thank you very much for your kind words, Michael. Been a real pleasure, because it's been nice to get an insight from your journey as well. So obviously I'm quite new in this podcast game as well, so it's a pleasure. So speaking to a veteran, I would say, as well, in the game. So my pleasure. Really nice speaking with you. So that's us for today, guys. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. And we should be back tomorrow. So got another episode tomorrow where I'll be covering match week 14. So United obviously had a great result, so I'll be speaking quite a bit on that, plus the Liverpool game. So yeah, we'll see how that pans. Exactly, we'll see how that pans out. But
Leeds are not marching on together now.
I know. To be fair, I think it was a nice match to see United and Leeds play as well, because it's been such a long time. So
fantastic game, 40-odd shots on target, 40-odd shots on goal, end to end. But they got put in the place, so they got a welcome back to the Premiership.
It's such a shame there wasn't a crowd. I think it would have been a more of a fiery encounter if there was. But
they played very well though, as well. Give them the credit. They're very, very brave.
Very exciting team to watch. So yeah, definitely very open indeed. So yes, guys. So that wraps us up for today, and we shall see you soon. Take care, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.